Story time! Pet peeves and firearms training. We all have them. One of my biggest pet peeves is this whole made-up mythology-like concept of canting the weapon to the left when you have a stoppage. This is for those who are not new to handling firearms and those who rely on them on a daily basis. If you are in the profession of arms, you should not be canting your weapon to do a diagnostic check to see what position your slide or your bolt face is in.
Yeah, well, that's the way I've always been taught. You know, I've been doing this for a while, you know.
Well, congratulations. You've just demonstrated that you are emotionally biased to your training. Doesn't mean you're right.
Holy shit! He's making sense!
Well, what really are you going to do when you're faced with an objective threat perception? Your body responds by activating the sympathetic nervous system. You're reduced your gross motor skills, your hearing is impaired, and your vision is reduced.
Lord Thunder, there's a lot of big words there, what? I never thought of that. Well, alright then, know-it-all. Why shouldn't I be canting my weapon to the left then?
What we should be doing is getting away from this whole primary and secondary stoppage nonsense that's been ingrained into us for the past 20 plus years. What you should be doing is looking at your stoppage drills as an immediate action and remedial action.
What? That's the same thing!
Well, they're not quite the same, but they are similar. So bear in mind, we're talking about dealing with an actual threat. We're not talking about on the range, we're not talking about recreational shooting. We're talking about dealing with a threat. Why take the time? You already know your weapon's not functioning. So why take the time to look down at your firearm to try to figure out what's wrong when you should be worrying about where that threat is? That's where our focus should be, and that's where our drills should be focusing on, is dealing with that threat. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to demonstrate how we are traditionally taught to deal with stoppages versus dealing with them in the manner that we should be. I've got a trusty shot timer here. We're just going to see which way's quicker. Alright, so the way we're traditionally taught, okay, we get a stoppage, we're supposed to kind of stop, take a second to look at what position our slide's in, and that's going to tell us what kind of stoppage we have. Okay, so I'm going to do the stoppages the traditional way we're taught, and then I'm going to do them the better way. Okay? Alright, so essentially what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a stoppage using a training round and a live round. The idea is to try to trick myself so that I can't predict when which round the stoppage will be. Now I'll be going over the traditional method and how we're usually taught to clear a primary stoppage. So you bring weapon in, cant it to the left, figure out what position it's in, fully forward. Obviously we tap the bottom magazine and rack the action. So we had a 2.79 second split there to remedy that stoppage. So now I'll set that drill up again and using 2 live and 1 training. Now I put one of the live rounds in the magazine to start with because it makes no sense to have the training round as the last round. That would defeat the purpose of the drill. So as you can see, it only recorded 1 shot, so it didn't record the first shot. So we're still in that. We're still in the high, probably 2.7, 2.9 range. So I'm going to run through that now with a cadence fire drill using the old method. So as you can see, I had 2 stoppages in the first go, and those came out. The first round came out at 4.3. So a 2.15 second time to remedy a immediate action is not, it's not bad, but it could always be faster. Alright, so I'm going to set up the drill again. It'll be a cadence fire drill. Except this time I'm not going to bring my gun in. I'm not going to cant it to the left and look at the slide. I'm just going to carry out the immediate action drill, keeping my focus on my target. So let's see what the timer picked up. 1.57 seconds. Now, if we go to where we first started, we've shaved almost a second off, anywhere between 6100ths of a second to a full second. So now I'm setting up a remedial action drill. It'll be a simulated double feed. So I'm going to handle this stoppage the way we're traditionally taught. So we cant the weapon in, attempt to shake the round out. That doesn't work. Eject the magazine, cycle the action, insert the magazine, and continue on firing. .38 seconds to remedy that double feed. Alright, so now I'm going to simulate 2 stoppages, but I'm going to use the old methods of bringing the firearm in and canting it to the left to examine which position my slide's in. I'm going to start with a secondary, and it'll immediately turn into a primary stoppage. So shaking around that didn't work, eject the magazine. There we go with the primary stoppage, and we finally get the round off. Almost 10 seconds. That is an excruciating long time when you're dealing with a threat to have your firearm down. So this time I'm going to go through and I'm going to use the remedial action method for clearing the stoppage. So now the idea here is to focus on your target while you're shooting here. And as you can see, I kind of fumbled the drill a little bit there. 5.49 seconds, and that's clearing 2 stoppages. So now I'm going to set that drill up again. Bear in mind, I am on a civilian range. I'm not by myself, so there are times I got to kind of stop for a moment and think, because of course civilian ranges have certain rules that don't really apply to our community. So again, I set it up, I try the first thing, it doesn't work, I move straightly onto remedial action and get the round off. So as you can see with the shot timer, clearing a hard stoppage in 3.81 seconds. Significantly less time than using the traditional method. But let's try this a couple more times just for good measure.
Take your time. What? We had a competition here. Okay, talk to John and let him know. Yes. Put the gun down, you want to put it down this way, eh?
So as you can see, the timer doesn't lie. After declaring the stoppage, the first shot comes out at 3.51 seconds, and the follow-on shots come out at a .45 split.
Ah, shit, you're right.
Lord Thunder and Jesus, this guy's making some sense.
Yeah, but I was always told you should try to shake the round out, and if that doesn't work, try to use a tool, and yeah. Well, we all used to believe in Santa Claus too at one point in time.
Using the shot timer only. This time I'm not.
So as I was recording footage, I noticed something that I wanted to point out to you folks. Watch as I let the first shot out and watch the position of my slide. You'll notice it comes back just partially.
There we go.
Right there. Notice it?
Okay. So that was interesting. I actually ended up having a remedial action when the slide was partially to the rear. Now that might happen. I dealt with it the exact same way. Okay. We're going to go over remedial actions in a minute. But if you noticed, I had a hard stoppage. Failure to extract, failure to eject. I did the exact same drill and it cleared. Okay. It happened twice, but it still cleared.
So I'm going to play that same clip back in slow motion. So notice the slide comes forward only partially. I do the exact same thing for an immediate action drill, and both rounds come out and clears the stoppage.
So as we've just seen, you can get rounds down range a lot faster by taking out those needless, unnecessary steps. But what's ultimately required is dry training, okay? You cannot do this entirely on a range. Well, that's a lie. You can, but if you want to save money, you can do this clearly at home, because the reality is, and for most of you cops, this is your reality, okay? It's going to be pitch black. If I am sitting here on the range, okay, and I do this in complete, utter darkness, okay, we are not going to be able to see what position our slide or our bolt face is in. All right? It's just a plain reality. So training people, no matter what proficiency level they're at, to stop and... I got shit falling in my pockets. Training people to stop and look at what position their bolt face is in or slide is a waste of time. It really, truly is. We have to get away from that. We need to do what's going to work every time in any condition. That's the whole purpose of Train Like You Fight.
My whole world is shattered! This common sense is hiding me!
Now, by no means am I advocating that you disregard whatever your departmental or agency policy is, but I would beg you to think outside the box.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, hit subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at CDSECTRG. I want to send a big shout out to Whiskey Delta Golf for helping me out with this video. This video is based on a blog post which he wrote last year on immediate actions and remedial actions during weapons transitions. Check out his blog at starlightcdn.blogspot.com. There is a wealth of knowledge there from firearms, tactical medicine, everyday carry, and everything in